Hello everybody, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to do the fourth winter 2012-2013 roundup today for this video. This is just where I compile a few things together, such as sea surface temperature anomalies and sea and snow and Arctic sea ice extent. I compile a few things together and see how things are developing through the autumn in relation to the coming winter, the winter of 2012-2013. I've done 3 of these videos so far. This is the 4th one. As I say, we're just looking at how things are developing as the autumn goes on. I should explain, I think there's a little bit of uncertainty about what's going on here. I'm going to keep doing these videos through the rest of the autumn, and eventually I'll combine all of the things that you see in these videos with the seasonal model videos. I'll combine everything together, and eventually at the end of November, at the end of the autumn, we'll come up with an official forecast for the winter of 2012-2013 in the United Kingdom. So everything that you're seeing here is important. It's building up a picture really that will eventually pay off once we get through to the end of November, or at least hopefully will pay off once we get through to the end of November. Now before I go on video, just talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at gazweathervids.com. Please play those videos. You'll be supporting gazweathervids.com by doing that. So we're going to start off. Before I do anything else, I want to start off with Hurricane Sandy. Actually, this is a wonderful satellite picture that I've seen posted by one of my Twitter followers, Gary Bywater. A fantastic satellite picture here from space. This massive and impressive swirl of cloud is Hurricane Sandy off the southeastern coast of the United States. This hurricane is going to move up the eastern seaboard of the states over the next couple of days, and then around Tuesday it'll start to move inland somewhere around New York City. Now this is going to be an incredible weather event. It's going to be one of the severest storms probably to hit the eastern seaboard for many years, even worse than Hurricane Irene, which you'll remember hit the eastern states last September, or at the end of August last year. This is going to be even worse than that. We're looking at 70 or 80 mile an hour winds in populated areas across the northeast of the United States, but also be copious amounts of rain, so severe flooding potential, especially combined with a massive storm surge that's going to be moving up the eastern seaboard as well. And as that storm comes inland and engages with cold air being pulled out of Canada, some upland parts of the northeastern states could well see some very significant snow as well. So this really is going to be a very intense weather event, very serious weather event, really to hit the eastern and northeastern United States in the next day or so. Now let's get on with the video, and I'm going to start off with sea surface temperature anomalies. This was the situation in the last video that I did. This is from NOAA. This is their sea surface temperature anomaly. This is from the 11th of October, so this is from the last time I did the video. There's a couple of things that we're looking at specifically, well 3 things actually. The ENSO region, the PDO, the cold PDO, and the Atlantic Ocean. And what we had at this point on the 11th of October is that we had a very neutral ENSO signal. The El Nino really was stalling, if you remember. I didn't know what was happening with ENSO. The PDO was cold. We're in the cold PDO. We'll remain in the cold PDO for the next few years. But I should explain that with the PDO it just wax and wane. So sometimes it'll be very cold, sometimes it'll be near neutral, and occasionally it can actually go positive into a warm PDO. But once you're in the cold PDO phase, which lasts for 20-30 years, any warm PDO period will be very short-lived, and it'll soon go back towards cold again. But anyway, the PDO was cold, and for the Atlantic we've got a very nice negative NAO signal here with the warm, cold and warm band. So let's see how things have developed. This is the latest sea surface temperature chart from the temperature anomaly chart from the 25th of October. One thing I just wanted to focus on is this area here. I've actually seen some warming in the central and western part of the ENSO region. Now this isn't a dramatic warming, but certainly if we go back and have a look at this, there's the anomaly around this area on the 11th of October, going forward to the latest chart, we have seen some warmer waters beginning to push up. So are we beginning to see ENSO starting to tilt back towards very weak El Nino? Well, I wouldn't go quite that far just yet, but certainly in the last week or so we have seen in this central and western part of the ENSO region, we have seen a little bit of an increase in the sea surface temperature anomalies, not into the El Nino threshold yet, but it's certainly interesting, maybe just signs that we're beginning to swing back very slightly towards weak El Nino conditions for the winter. The PDO is still cold, but it's less cold than it was going back again. That was the PDO signal once we was on the 11th of October. Going forward, the signal has weakened a little bit, but it's still cold. We're still in the cold PDO, and just that the anomaly has lifted up slightly. For the Atlantic, actually we've seen quite a moderation of the warm sea surface temperature anomalies here to the south of Greenland around Newfoundland. Going back again, that situation on the 11th, lots of warm water there around Newfoundland to the south of Greenland. Going forwards now to the 25th, we've seen quite a dramatic moderation of that sea surface, warm sea surface temperature anomaly. Still got the cooler band in the mid-Atlantic, still got the quite warm band through the tropical Atlantic, but we've got to keep an eye on this, because if we start to lose this warmer signal up here around to the south of Greenland, around Newfoundland, we may start to see the Atlantic going back towards a more positive NAO type signal. But certainly at the moment we've still got a signal for a negative NAO here with warm, cold and quite warm bands. Next thing I want to look at is solar activity. This is the latest image from the solar disk on our side of the sun. We have got some sunspots here, 1, 2, 3, 4 sunspots, but activity is low. We're nearly at solar maximum now, as I've explained in recent videos. Actually, we'll go forward, have a look at the prediction from NASA, see where we are. This is solar maximum here around the middle of 2013. I should say this area here. This is the actual forecast the prediction is just there. These areas here are the possibility, that's like the maximum outcome that we can expect from this mean prediction. This is the minimum outcome that we can expect from this mean prediction. But anyway, the maximum is expected to occur around 2013. This is where we are at the moment. We're well down actually on where we was at the end of 2011. That was the peak that we had in solar activity in at the end of 2011, November and December. I'm beginning to wonder whether this was solar maximum, to be honest, because there's no sign of solar activity getting anywhere near back to where we was at the end of 2011. At the start of 2012 it crashed down. It's picked up a little bit then through the spring and summer into the autumn, but we haven't got anywhere near where we was at the end of 2011. Today solar activity is low, not surprising, because if we go back to this we can see we've only got a few sunspots here across the solar disk, so solar activity is officially low, and it's likely to stay low for the foreseeable future. And just look how low this solar maximum, whether it ends up here or down there, or if it's in the area that's actually predicted from NASA, just look how weak this is compared to the last cycle, cycle 24. This was the maximum of cycle 24. This was the actual maximum in 2000. Very incredible situation, really. Totally opposite really what we saw in cycle 23. For cycle 24, very much a weaker cycle there. And of course, when we have weaker solar activity, that does tend to favour more in the way of blocking across Europe in particular. The effects for the rest of the world are quite controversial, but certainly for Europe there's quite good evidence now that weak periods of solar activity do tend to coincide with blocking. Actually, a few days ago when I was going through a bit of a personal trauma, Mark left a comment on my page in the comment box section asking whether solar activity activity or sunspot activity or solar flares was the most important really for our weather. Mark, what I'd say to that is that both are equally important, because once you have increased sunspot activity, you'll usually get increased solar flares, and the reason we're not having as many solar flares in this cycle is because the actual sunspot numbers are a lot weaker. So I don't think you can really separate one or the other. Both are equally important. If you have a lot of sunspots, you'll have a lot of flare activity. Now, as we go forward, I want to have a look at the stratosphere, and this is the current situation with the stratosphere. There's some quite good evidence that when we get stratospheric warmings over the North Pole, that does tend to coincide a few weeks later with blocking areas of high pressure. So this is the where the stratosphere should be, this grey line dipping down, of course, because the Arctic winter is well and truly setting in, and this is where we've been and where we currently are. Now, we did see a bit of a stratospheric cooling through the middle of October, but that's leveled off and actually come back up, and actually we're very near where we should be in terms of stratospheric temperatures, but there's no sign of any stratospheric warming going on just yet. We'll keep an eye on that, because once we do start to see signs of increased temperatures in the stratosphere over the North Pole, that could be quite important for looking for winter blocking. Finally, I want to look at the Arctic sea ice and snow extent. This was the situation on the last video I did. This was the 13th of October. Very poor Arctic sea ice there. Of course, had that catastrophic melt season through the summer. And actually, in terms of the snow cover, we was a little bit down, but I wasn't too concerned about that because I said that really the main period is for later on in October and through November. See how that snow cover builds up. So let's take a look at the latest picture. Look at this. This is absolutely amazing in terms of the snow cover. Look how far the snow cover has extended in towards central parts of Europe and over Scandinavia. We've got very good snow cover building up. I've looked back through these NOAA archives back towards 1998. I can't find a year that's got as much snow cover as this extending into Europe this early in the season. This really is quite amazing. Snow covers, there's but as I said, I can't find a year that's got as much snow as this. So if you think that snow cover through October and November's build-up of snow cover is good news for winter blocking across Europe, then this is very good news actually. Now obviously a lot of this in Central Europe will melt out in the next few days as it turns milder, but this over Scandinavia, Northern Scandinavia, is quite impressive, and we'll see how this develops. Hopefully if you're looking for a cold winter, this will stick around, because that's one of the important things to see in terms of Scandinavian blocking is good build-up of snow cover over Scandinavia. This going back in towards Russia, again very good if you're looking for a signal for a cold winter, because again rapid snow cover increase, as long as it's maintained, it does tend to coincide with increased blocking across Eurasia and into Scandinavia. Also have a look at the ice extent. It is coming back very nicely now, going back to how it was on the 13th, and very poor ice extent going forward. Yes, it is improving rapidly now. As you'd expect, of course, it's starting to rebound, and all of this eventually in the next few days and weeks will become covered. We're a little bit below, or quite a bit below where we should be though actually for this time of year. Not surprised, because it really was a horrendous melt season. But it's improving, and it's good to see the ice coming back. I'm always relieved to see things getting better. So overall, things are looking quite good actually if you're looking for a cold winter. Many of the signals here are looking good. ENSO neutral, going back to perhaps towards slightly towards a weak El Nino. Solar activity weak. The Atlantic still has its negative NAO signal, although it's weaker than it was. And this ice extent, and or should say snow cover extent, very impressive. Now a lot of that snow in Central Europe is going to melt probably over the next few days, but the snow that's building up over Scandinavia and into those western parts of Russia and northern Russia, very impressive, and that does help if you're looking to start the building blocks getting going for Scandinavian and Siberian blocking. So everything's going in the right direction at the moment. We'll do this again next week or perhaps the week after, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching.